Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today. My name is Jessica Marter-Kenyon. I'm a human environment geographer by training, and I currently work as a postdoc at the University of Georgia, where I'm also an advisor for the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Peanut. Today, I thought that I would briefly discuss a bit of our work at the Peanut Lab as it relates to gender in the context of agricultural research. And I'll discuss a little bit about our philosophy and strategy, and then a few of the lessons learned and challenges that we've encountered along the way. Just to give you an idea about who we are, the Peanut Lab is part of a network of around 24 innovation labs funded through Feed the Future, which is the US government strategy to address global food and hunger-related problems. Although the Peanut Lab management entity is based at the University of Georgia in the US, our program focuses on peanut agriculture in 4 primary target countries: Uganda, Malawi, Ghana, and Senegal. And our lab involves researchers and institutes from several other countries in Africa and Asia as well. In total, the Peanut Lab comprises well over 100 scientists and students from all around the world. Our overarching aim is to improve the lives and livelihoods of men, women, and children working in the peanut sector. And towards that goal, we apply innovative science and research to improve peanut production quality and use, increase our understanding of the role that peanut plays in nutrition and health, and then to understand and address gender and youth roles in the peanut value chain. I want to talk a little bit here about our philosophy when it comes to gender and agricultural research. All innovation labs, including our own, are required by Feed the Future to mainstream, or in some ways integrate, gender across their research portfolios and associated activities. But our philosophy at the Peanut Lab is that gender needed to be elevated beyond mainstreaming. So we therefore made gender and youth into a standalone area of research equivalent to our other 3 areas: varietal development, value-added gains, and nutrition, as you can see here. As far as I'm aware, this is a unique, or at least very rare, approach within the Innovation Lab network. Making gender a standalone area of research has allowed us to do a number of things that we feel have improved the lab overall, and as well as our ability to make inroads on gender-responsive research in African peanut agriculture. In particular, it has helped us to raise the profile of gender-focused research and the value of the social sciences in agricultural systems research. It's also helped us diversify the kinds of researchers and institutions that we work with. And it's helping us learn more about the way that gender operates within the groundnut sector, which is generating knowledge that we can feed back into our nutrition, crop, and value chain improvement research strands as well. As you can see here, we're supporting 5 primary projects in the gender and youth research area. I think these amount to somewhere around $2 million in funding total for research and capacity building, which includes training something like 20 students through these 5 projects, both American and African students. One of the potential risks of a standalone approach is that gender could become siloed. So you can imagine that scientists working in the other research areas, for example, plant breeding, might view gender as taken care of elsewhere in that gender and youth area of inquiry, and therefore wouldn't place an emphasis on gender in their own research. So to address that, we required all projects to include a gender statement of integration in their research proposals, and we did quite a bit of iterative work in the early design phases to ensure that gender was considered in research design and team composition, regardless of the area of inquiry a project was situated in. It did become apparent to us almost immediately, though, that one of the challenges of integrating gender across our program is that many researchers in our scientific community, especially although not only those working in the biological and physical sciences, are simply unequipped to do so because they haven't been trained to understand why and in what specific ways gender is relevant to their core research objectives. We saw that reflected in both the applications they submitted to us, as well as in their comments at meetings and in encounters that we had with them. So one of the first things we needed to do was bridge that initial awareness and responsiveness barrier about gender in agriculture and ag research. To that end, we worked with GREAT at Makerere University to design and deliver a customized 3-day workshop. This is a picture from the first workshop that we delivered in March of this year to our scientists and students working in East Africa. Our own observations and then also the feedback that we got from the participants was that this was an extremely valuable and eye-opening experience for them. And we can actually already see that adjustments have been made to research design and practice as a result of this training. So we're very pleased with how that went. Our view is that this is an ongoing and iterative process. We don't expect or even need all of our scientists to make gender a core focus of their research, but we do need and expect them to recognize that men and women have different needs and experiences, and to recognize the implications that that has for every aspect of research practice. Because agriculture is, of course, a complex system involving both human and non-human components, it's absolutely our philosophy that rigorous gender-responsive research requires interdisciplinary collaboration. And as I just mentioned, we knew immediately that we had a lot of work to do in terms of bringing our biophysical scientists up to speed on the human and gender dimensions of their work. More recently, it's become apparent to us that we also have work to do in educating our social scientists around principles of agri-science and peanut agriculture in particular. Many of our social scientists, despite their deep expertise in rural sociology, poverty and underdevelopment, and certainly gender, need to be better equipped with knowledge about agriculture, crop development, plant growth, and the like. So to help address that gap, we're working to develop a virtual GroundNet Academy, which will have modules on various aspects of peanut agriculture, including plant breeding, crop production, and processing. And as a management entity overall, we're able to bring together our social and biophysical scientists in one room, although that's typically virtual rooms these days, where they can listen and learn from one another. And we're hoping that through these experiences and with us at the management entity acting as a bridge, that all of our scientists at the end of our project will be better equipped for interdisciplinary collaboration going forward. Now, we're also very sensitive to the fact that gender-responsive research goes beyond just research topics and subjects, and is something that needs to be addressed within research teams themselves and within our lab as a whole. That as scientists, we all need to be thinking critically about the ways in which socially constructed ideas about gender affect the composition of our research teams, who has power and standing within them, whose ideas and careers are prioritized, etc. And this graphic here depicts the gender composition of the Peanut Lab scientists and students to date. It's notable, as you can see here, that we have a strong pipeline of female students, but are weaker at the co-PI and then especially at the PI level when it comes to gender balance. You know, that's probably related to structural shifts with increasing gender equity over time and more young women entering the academy. But of course, we know that there are still entrenched biases within the research community that inhibit the ability of women to move up into positions of scientific leadership. And so we are in the process of exploring ways to ensure that we see more of these young women moving up the pipeline and are focused on retaining women as career scientists and research professionals. So things like positionality, intersubjectivity, personal bias, those were a core focus of the trainings that we designed with GREAT, and they're issues that we continue to reinforce in the graduate seminars that we are holding for our students, at our annual lab meetings, and in our own communications and activities as a management entity. And finally, of course, we do want the research that we produce at the lab to have a real impact on the lives and livelihoods of farmers and food processors and be taken up by practitioners. This here is a screenshot of Feed the Future's Innovation Exchange, which is a platform that Feed the Future uses to share scalable research innovations with practitioners working in ag development. As you may be able to see in the background, only 5 technologies on the whole platform are designed specifically with women or gender in mind. And we're hoping that, of course, some of the projects that we're supporting at the lab will increase that number. At the same time, we think it's also important to note that Feed the Future and many other similar funders and practitioners are biased towards technological innovations and interventions. And that bias can work against our ability to leverage basic social science research for development, as those findings often don't produce results that result in tangible technologies. So as a management entity, we're continuing to explore ways to connect funders and practitioners with social science research related to the structural factors that lead to underdevelopment, food insecurity, and gender inequality, but that's certainly an ongoing challenge for us. I think I'll leave it there now, but thank you again very much for the opportunity to present today. And I also want to say that we've really enjoyed working with GREAT over the past couple of years. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. And of course, we are always available to communicate with you in future. Thank you very much.